Okay, so we're just going to start with the last time we did this was how fucking formally are you sitting?
How do you like that? What do you want me to do?
It's just the hands and lap and bolt upright. Okay, so the first thing I was going to say, we did this last 6 months ago?
Yeah, Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Last
So
Christmas.
before that, you don't have to go in brief. You're gonna have to catch me up from. Well, I have to pretend that people don't know who you are as well. Even though the people listening to this will know who you are.
There's not many people listening to it who don't.
It's 4 of us. Wow, you got to crush me like that. It's the second podcast, mate. Yeah, no one gives a fuck. Why are we doing this? So give me the brief rundown first of what's happened. Give me the brief overview up to that point. The stuff that we covered, what you had done, how we got here.
So it started before powerlifting as a swimmer. Over COVID, I got into weightlifting because I started lifting in my garden. Then I went to the gym. About 6 months after that, I contacted you, thinking that I was the best in the world.
Still humble about
it. Yeah, saying that I wanted a coach. And then I started with you, just powerlifting, doing my own thing as well in A-levels. Then about 6 months later, I did my first competition, which qualified me for nationals. Then did nationals, came first. And then between then and worlds, then I had A-levels, driving test, everything.
Yeah.
Then went to worlds, came fifth. And then
Set some
that
records.
was basically, set some records.
Yeah, which you still don't seem to give a shit about.
They're almost gone now. They didn't last that long.
They were, to be fair, they didn't seem that big for you, which is why I think we were surprised.
Yeah.
Because when you hit us, they'd be like, oh, that's a record.
They did move quite quickly, to be fair.
All right, we get it. You're strong.
I
made it look easy, mate. I don't know why. So they're on their way out. You held a few records, though.
I had the total. Which
Still
was,
hold that?
No, which was beaten.
Who beat that?
By 0.5, Emilia.
Piece of shit.
That's fine. She's strong. At this nationals that have just gone past. So she would have been the same age and same everything.
Right, yeah.
And then she did pull the 160, which was my deadlift.
But that's what got
red lighted.
So holding on.
Well, we'll see. She's got worlds to do yet. I'm expecting she'll get it.
Because when you first hit it, I didn't think there was much attachment to these records at all. And then you're like, yes, someone's
Nat, you told me about them. I'm just watching, you know.
Just got to see what
they are there.
So, and then so we did that full recap. Obviously, that's a huge journey all at once. And then now we have to talk about from then till now, there's been more. So obviously, you made some decisions about where you're going to compete, what you're going to do, where that put you for nationals. Walk me through that. So because I was doing uni at the time, I knew that I had it was from Christmas until April. And well, at the start of uni, I lost loads of, well, not loads, but a couple kilograms in weight very fast because of basically what was stress. Yeah.
And then after that, obviously you're going to uni, you're drinking God knows however much, and like you put on weight. And I was very concerned about the fact that I was going to go on placement. I had Easter.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't really want to be thinking about my weight during that because like I'm someone before who's like struggled with like different aspects of weight. I didn't want to be because I know I'm obsessive like with that sort of stuff. If I was thinking about that, I wouldn't be thinking about the schoolwork and everything university, which I had to at that point. So I said like I'm just going to stick with not worrying about it, but that meant that I probably wasn't going to compete in under 69 class and that I was going to compete in the under 76 class, which in hindsight, considering at the time I probably contacted you about it, I was like sitting at 70, like it wasn't really that sensible, but it was something that I think like I've probably grown from it anyway. Like I've put on a lot of like kilos in the like what I'm lifting, that I've built from it now.
And there's also that bit of like what degree of stress you could handle at the time. And as much as it's in hindsight being like, I probably could have coped, if the answer was I couldn't have, and then you'd had a diabolical time and terrible uni and you'd been like, the comp was shit, that would have been horrific for you.
Yeah.
Very quickly, you might want to get your hair off the mic, otherwise it's going to rustle the whole way through.
Imagine.
It might do. It's fine.
All that first bit gone.
Because that was a huge thing. I think people kind of underestimate that. So if you had stayed in the class you were in, you would have been up against Cleo.
Yeah.
You would have matched total.
Well, I would have been lighter.
Yeah, but you would have matched, that's what I mean. So you would have matched total and taken second.
But would I have got that total if I was lighter?
Hard question to answer.
Exactly.
Although I wouldn't have let you go for the bench that you went for.
Oh,
so you probably would have saved some of the kilos.
True.
But yeah, so you would have it would have put you in second. How have you found? Because one thing you said to me, which I've never heard you say, was why you weren't on Insta. Not then. You weren't posting stuff on Instagram because of comparison. And beforehand, you've always been my shit, best in the world. I'm gonna work as hard as I can.
Yeah.
How have you found, in reflection, what happened with that comp?
It's not necessarily like the comp itself is fine. I understand like where I've come from, but moving forward, I think it's definitely like in that headspace. I was thinking about uni. If I'm thinking about competing properly and being up with the best in the world, you need to have a competitive mindset. You can't just be like, I'm not necessarily. It's not comparison and like to people who are like either side of me. Like it doesn't actually matter. It's more like if I'm looking at number 1, number 2 in world class at juniors, especially in an age class above, you're looking at big numbers here. You can't be focusing on, I need to get like this much better or something. I'm looking at bigger things now. I think I've definitely grown since we've last done this in the fact of powerlifting is actually like a competitive sport now, and it's getting bigger by the minute. More girls
rapidly,
coming in like every day. It's like if you want to be at that standard, you do need to have not all of your mind focused on it, but you do need to understand that there are people who are going to be better than you, and if you're not willing to compete against that, what's the really?
I think that's one of the things that I speak with Beck on this sort of stuff a lot, because Beck is very much like hard mindset of is or isn't, very black and white. And we talked about like if you're like when we're talking about goal setting, like, okay, if you want to go to a comp and have a good time, it's not that hard. We can do things. We can make good progress. When you're talking about like, you want to be the best, I'm like, there is a degree of sacrifice that comes hand in hand with that, and it fucking sucks. And there's always going to be someone who's willing to make that. And it's like, if you're not that person, fair enough for that point.
Exactly.
And I think it was good for you to have an experience of not being that person, though.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because like, since I've known you, you've been that person. Been like, I'll do everything. Everything he's doing, I'll do it. And the first time you've been like, maybe not right now. And then be like, well, I got to enjoy nationals. So what do you want to do next? With that now having been the fine. What do you want to go to?
I want to get back down to under 69s, which I think is fair enough. Like I'm still sitting, it's probably sensible for me. I'm not sitting at that high of weight to be under 76s. Under 69s is where I'm going to be most competitive. So I want to get back down to that. Besides that, just like my numbers at the moment are looking quite good. Like
because people don't know, I know your stuff inside out, but they might not.
Don't even know
don't follow you that
where
much,
I'm sitting at. Well, I did 142 squat at nationals, which was, bearing in mind it was 2 months ago now. Like I'm already quite far past that. Like I did,
which is revolting.
Well, yeah, I did. What was it? The other day I did like a 135 at a 6. So it's not that far.
That rate of progress is good.
It's not that far off. And considering it's only like one block, I know you say that most people don't do as, like it takes them more time to build back up to what they were. They've got like, that's fine. Squats are going really well. Because I used to throw myself at the floor, and I've managed to stop doing that recently, which has been quite nice. That made
a world of difference.
Yeah, it's been great.
You were volleying yourself.
When?
It was like, if I get down there faster, I'm probably back up faster. Well, it was terrifying.
Even at nationals, it wasn't great. The first two were okay, but the last one, it was not impressive.
The last one, you just wanted to make sure there was some tension. For some reason. It was an easy day. Why not make it a little harder?
Yeah, it was. I literally lost everything and then brought it back. But anyway, bench is a bit hit and miss at the moment. It's fine.
Tell me the hit and miss.
I can't, we discussed about getting my ribcage higher, and then I'm like, I've got to get my ribcage higher. So I'm trying to set up in a more like efficient way, but I'm trying to set up in an efficient way on a bench that is like a pillow. So it's like I can't get my shoulders underneath me that much to do it. And it's like, I'm sure like today when we go and train, I'm sure it's going
to be a world better.
I'm going to have a proper bench to train on. And to be honest, I should just go to a better gym at home.
Do you know we were just talking about bench. Like when you want to be the best, there are sacrifices specifics, and you're like, I'm just going to train at a shit gym. I'm like,
it's pavilions. I can't go against pavilions.
And to be fair, pavilions is the OG.
Exactly.
I miss that place.
It's cute. They're still the same people every time.
Really?
Yeah, go in.
They still think you're mental.
Although there's been one guy recently who's really. Every time I'll show you the video, I was benching and I'm literally just doing, I was fine, it was going to move for like a 7. And I just see him out the corner of my eye just getting closer and closer. I'm doing 2 reps, and on my second one, he's right there underneath it, like, come on, you can do it, get it up. I'm like, go away, this is really putting me off. This has now turned into an 8, like, leave me alone. So yeah, but bench is okay, it's just not going as quickly. And deadlifts were going well, but last week was just weirdly good. I know I think I know for a fact.
Go on.
That it was because of the shoes.
I love that it's, I know for a fact, I think. I think I know for a fact.
Because we had the discussion last time that when I got my belt last year, all of a sudden squats went up by like 10 kilos. And I'm sure it's psychological.
So basically, you're a fashionista of powerlifting. If you have something nice and pretty, you'll be stronger.
It's not that. It's like even the same thing. Like when I was a swimmer, I got new goggles. I would swim faster. It's like you think you're better. Like you think, I'm now at this standard. I deserve these shoes.
You're not working hard enough without new fresh shit to wear.
They are closer to the floor.
Mate, the week before, for context, the week before you'd taken, this was the triple, wasn't it? Or the set of 4 at 160... 157? And then...
No, 152.
And it was dog shit.
Yeah.
But that was the week where you'd also slammed your hands in a door, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't even account for that. You were like, I just suck at deadlifting now. Rather than, I slammed my hand in a door, nearly fainted. Did you faint?
I did faint, yeah.
Brilliant, cool.
Well... I'm used to that now. I just faint all the time. But
is this when you say all the time?
Well, I never used to. It got to, I think it was like last year. Well, no, it was when it was like really hot in lockdown. I had a couple of faints, but I took that as the fact that I'd lost loads of weight at the time. I wasn't eating properly, too hot, going on walks. I come back, you're gonna faint. Like you're not eating.
That would make sense.
That's what I thought it was, and then I think I probably conditioned myself. Like whenever I felt like that, my body just responds. It's not like I want to faint. Like it's not like, oh, I'm really scared about this, I'm gonna faint. It's
I know
when it's gonna happen, but it's not like it's like I'm on the floor now. What a shame.
This is just the day.
Yeah, and then now it seems to be whenever the slightest thing happens, I just decide that I'm going to.
Only because I'm gonna pretend we didn't have the conversation at all. But was it only when it's on you or other people?
When it's on other people. The only reason it happened
Give context to what you're doing for a degree.
Physio, don't. It's so bad. I like other people. It's when when I feel like I don't have any power in the situation. Which again, if I'm on a ward and someone crashes, that is not a good thing. Why I need to get it sorted really, because
probably
if someone crashes in front of me,
it's a bad day.
It's not a good thing.
How has that been?
In physio, well, I almost fainted on placement, but I didn't.
Very proud of you. Well done.
I said we were holding this man who was really ill at the time, and his cannula came out. Yeah. And then he...
Tell this how you told it to me in the car, because when you were like, so there's this guy.
There's this guy who was really ill, who died the next day, but it wasn't my fault. Just
suspicious this sounds.
To clarify it, he was really ill,
and
we were just doing some keeping him comfortable. We knew that he wasn't on the best path. So we were doing some manual techniques to help clear the stuff that was in his lungs. And then we turned him over and his cannula came out, which happens quite regularly. But then blood went everywhere and I was like, oh, for goodness sake. So I was going to myself, come on Emilia, you can stay awake during this. And I just felt everything drain from my head and I was like, I'm just going to take a step out. And because I knew that I was going to go down, and I was like, right, just run to the office, get water and just come back like nothing happened. So I did. I ran to the office, took water, and then luckily when I come back, the woman I was with had finished everything up.
I really thought you were going to say, luckily I came back and he was dead.
No.
So I didn't have to deal with it.
I was finished by that point.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, he was okay. I mean, he did die the next day, but...
Wasn't great then.
Yeah.
But how are you finding... So you didn't faint that time. How are you finding the rest of it? Because the line of work that you were looking to go into, when we first spoke, it was sports physio. So I worked in immediate trauma care, whatever the fuck it was. So that's breaks, open fractures. If you pass out now,
no,
podcast
I'm fine.
I've ever recorded.
That'll get some clickbait.
Well,
if I'm just on the sofa, Callum has to call ambulance when Emilia's on podcast.
So we've had, the line of work you were looking to go into, maybe a bit of a shift.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that could possibly happen is so I'm on a football team, which I used to do, and someone's gone down and they've broken a leg and there's bone sticking out, and I'm the one that they're treating because I'm on the floor and I've fainted.
Attention seeker.
No, that's not this type
You're like, what do you mean it's not about me?
I was born for this role.
He goes down, you're like, I can do this better. You are made for football, that is
diving. That's it.
Do you mean I can dive better than this man?
That's it, but I just don't think that's really a place for... Who knows, I might get better at it if I can go to a doctor who can sort it out or something.
I don't know what it is, because I'm 10 years past you and I'm still dealing with that shit.
I'm pretty sure it's our bodies just have got an overreactive adrenaline response.
Just dramatic.
Because I feel the adrenaline go through me.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm on the floor.
But maybe that's something that like you, in competition you like that, where it's like high adrenaline really fast.
But it's really weird because it doesn't affect me then. That pushes me through. I'm like, yep,
Here it saves me, here it puts me on the floor. I don't know what it is.
I think it might help, like, to be honest, having a higher adrenaline response, that might be better for lifting. So maybe I don't want to get it sorted.
Yeah, don't fix it. You'll be shit at lifting, but you will stay conscious all the time. There's a win-win.
Which one do I want?
Take your pick. Because I was saying to you, like, I'm only repeating because we've had this chat, but still, with the tattoo stuff, my mum found it absolutely hilarious because she hated that I got tattoos. And I was like, the first time I told her, she was making a cup of tea, and I was like, I need to tell you, I've got a couple of tattoos. And she literally finished stirring tea, took the spoon out and burnt my hand.
Really?
No hesitation. Fucking bastard. She won't listen to this. She doesn't listen to anything I record. It's the swearing. And then, when I told it, I was like, but the bit that'll make you happier is that as soon as they did it, which is this tattoo, which they can't see, but...
Yeah, but the ankle's meant to be really painful.
But it's fucking tiny. When I got it, I immediately nearly fainted. And she was like, good. And I was like, fucking
that
Karen.
serves you right.
That's my mother. So maybe a slightly different line of work for you, moving towards something else.
Yeah, I think now I'm gonna look into more of like, I don't want to like streamline myself into that sort of work straight away. I'm only going into year 2 now, but I think neuro is probably more of a like pathway for me because it's more like stimulating in the fact that I get to be a bit more hands-on for one, and number 2, it is a bit more complicated and different routes that you can take with a patient rather than we know you've got this injury, so I'm going to give you these exercises and you can go and sort yourself out.
I genuinely think it's the same thing that I came across in powerlifting. We were talking about like those bits where it's just so simple that it's boring.
Yeah.
And it's like you want the risk of getting something wrong and being like, I actually might not know how to do this. Like I might not know what the solution is. I have to put time into figuring this out. Because when someone turns up musculoskeletal and you're like, okay, well, you've torn something. Here's the rehab process. It's black and white. It's relatively straightforward. And then that's it. And then they don't do it, and that's great.
Yeah, which they never will.
Never will. Fuckers. There is nothing more frustrating than being like, I spent all this money on a master's. I have all the information. Here you go. And they're like, sick. But the neurological side, like, that is fucking complex and risky.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things to like think about, especially in the fact that like you're likely to come up to patients who you can't do anything with, and that's communication. Like you've got to be able to explain like well to them that this is like what our plan is. You might be able to overcome these things, but just to let you know this is the position that you're in. And I think that's something that not everyone can do very well, like communicate in that sort of way. I do tend to be quite like decent at communicating my point across. I've been told by like some patients before that like you've been really helpful for me, just in the fact that it actually feels like you're listening to me. Whereas I feel like a lot of other people can go in and the patient comes out being like, oh yeah, I've just been told exactly what I need to do, and they haven't thought about anything that I've said.
Excuse me, what do you think makes you good at that? Because that's like, as a skill set, it more often comes from someone who's experienced the thing, that can say like, I know how you're feeling, I know what this is, the process is going to be. You haven't.
Yeah, I know. it's a really odd thing because I think that's something that is like probably genetic. I've always found I've been quite good at talking to people, in the fact that even like interviews and stuff. You haven't, like, we've done 2 podcasts, you don't hesitate. Yeah, like, that's fine. But things come into my head at quite like a rapid rate. Yeah. Even to the point where sometimes I'm talking to people and I'm like, and I'm like, oh, sorry, that was meant to come out as words, but it didn't. I'd finished the sentence. It didn't get there. That's it. But it happens quite regularly, but I'm often like, say it's in an interview, I'm sitting across and I'm like, oh, I'll say that'll get me some points, and I'm like, and then I say it and I'm like, oh, well done, that was good, that was good. I think that's it. Fucking missed that, fucking brilliant. Well done, Emilia. Sometimes it doesn't always go as well, like when I start stumbling over my words. But how much have you prepped for this in your head? Every now and again, you got to say a sentence, be like, that was good. I practiced that in front of the mirror earlier. No, luckily not. You'll come out with a quote and everyone will be like, said by Emilia, that's beautiful. And you're like, I only practiced that for a week, it's fine. I've actually been rehearsing in my bedroom. Like, God, get this right. I passed out the sight of blood. What a cool sentence to throw around. So, what the fuck were we just saying to get to that? This is the problem, we've got 2 people like us in a row. Honestly, that whole thing of like saying the things in your head. So I have, me and Rach now are very good at the fact that she'll ask me a question and I'll say no. And she's like, what do you mean no? And I'm like, I
I know the answer. I can't be bothered to explain it to then get you to catch up because I know it takes you long and I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, now that's great because I just don't have to. But conversations I used to get really bad where they can't talk at a pace that keeps me interested and I've finished the conversation, so I'm like, I'm done.
No, mine's like when I've got something to say and then my flatmate gets so annoyed. There's one person in my flat who, like, she talks and she's the only one who will tell me if I've interrupted. Because which is perfectly fair enough. If I'm interrupting, please carry on with what you're saying. But if I don't say it, I'm just going to forget what I was thinking about. Like, I'm sorry. But this girl, every time I go to say something, she looks at me like dead in the face, like with the sternest eyes. I'm like, sorry, carry on, please. I don't want to interrupt because I know I do it all the time. And then it's like, oh, forget what I said now.
But if you don't say it, then they finish and you're like, I don't know. Good. That's great. I don't know what you said.
Loved what you just said.
I was up here.
I was thinking about what I was going to say, so I didn't hear anything you were going to say.
I remember listening to the whole thing about, do you know Simon Sinek? I raved about him for ages. I'm like, fuck, you don't watch my content. Content, Emilia. He was this whole thing about how his whole job is about listening to people, but with his wife, he was terrible at it and he didn't really notice it. And there's certain people I'm like, I'm trying to listen, but this feels more interesting, and so I can't do this.
That's it.
The point we were going to say was line of work, and then it was how actually lifting was going. We got to deadlift, and then aspirations to where you were going to go next.
I think we even just got to the 152.5.
That's where we finished.
Yes.
Sick. One of the things that I have to admit, if people listen to these podcasts, the bits are good, but there is no trail of thought.
Oh no.
Where it's like, just keep going where we were, and then someone's like, I wanted to know about the thing. Like, tough shit, mate. We are long past that.
You're not here for that. You're here for the other bit.
If you're here for the lifting and we're talking about breaks and blood, I'm really sorry. That's just not where we're at.
That's not what DVD's about.
So with lifting going all right, and now deadlift this week was way, way better.
Yeah, way better. I think it's down to the shoes. That was it.
That was the thing. Got the shiny, yeah.
I got 162.5 for free.
Yep.
And that was like just moved at like dream speed.
Which, again,
probably
trying to go context, I think people forget rate of progress. Like, your British record was at the 160.
Yeah, for the sub-juniors.
Yeah, but forget the age. How long ago?
Like 6, 7, 8 months ago, maybe.
8 months ago, and you're pulling it for multiple reps and then some at a low RPE.
Yeah. But then I
love how you don't even register that as good.
I've got 182. That was quick. That was nice.
Yeah,
I had
good.
4 months and I increased 20 kilos on. But I think that was because
You know Rachel is racing you to 200, right?
So she should be.
There needs to be pressure.
I'm fully I really want Rach to get there first, if I'm completely honest.
Why?
Which I'm sure she will. Because she's so strong. Look at her RDLs. That is nothing.
That RDL. Did you see the 150 for 6?
Just stupid. It is just stupid. And then I'm looking at mine that's like 110.
If it helps, mine's 120.
Well,
I've got 280 deadlift. I can't RDL for shit.
But Rach is just unbelievable.
But again,
she deserves
similar to yourself,
it, definitely.
it's the rate of progress that's disgusting, though. Because when you first came to me, was it 130 deadlift?
I think it was 110 when I first started with you. Then 130.
You're up 70 kilos. And then some. We don't know what's at the top end now.
Guys, this is what Callum can do to me.
So I was contemplating this podcast I listen to. Every now and again, there's a break, like the Diary of a CEO. I'm like, I'm going to throw little advertisement clips in the middle. And I'm like, right, guys, hope you're enjoying the podcast. Dedicated by design. This podcast does it for itself.
Buy my brand of t-shirt, please.
Yeah. So you're up like 70 odd kilos on deadlift, and it does not look like it's slowing down.
No, hopefully not.
Bench you think is stagnant. What did you bench at last week? Tell me what you benched.
75 maybe.
And what did you bench at comp?
80. Oh God, I can't remember. I think it's 82.5.
Because you missed your third.
Yeah, I think I was meant to do 87. Oh, that was infuriating.
Why was it infuriating?
Take a deep breath. Because I said to you I wanted to do 90, which was a bit stupid at the time, but I know I had 87 in me because I did 85 the week before and it was really speedy. And I mean, it's fair enough. My elbow, what happened was I came down to my chest, my elbow came in and I tried to recover it, but I felt the bar go down and that's the end of that.
Yeah. I think bench is a difficult one, especially when we're talking national level and stuff, you're not just playing how strong you are playing the day. You could end up with a count. Yeah. Fucking some of the pauses, you've only competed a few times, really.
But it is something that you do get with a lot more experience. I can see that already, over a couple of comps. It's competing on the platform is completely different to in the gym.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who I think don't quite understand that.
It's also because this is the bit I said to Cleo when she was prepping for nationals, being like, you've been doing strength training, now you're doing a sport, because once you get to nationals, like you could get, and like you can be mad about it all you want, a ref that gives you a 2-count pause is giving you a 2-count pause. And I think the best example is your junior nats, as a sub-junior, those squats.
Last year?
Yeah, the squat calls where it's like everyone's fucked. And I know we spoke about it on the last podcast, but like that was the most obscene I'd seen, and you still handled it being like, well, that's the day, move on. And then there are people just crying in the back room, just breaking down, being like, "This is the worst thing ever." I felt so bad
after I said that. It's like outing people. I think it's just.
No one listens. It's fine.
Don't worry about it.
The sad thing is, a lot of people listen to that podcast.
Did they?
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's a couple of hundred.
That's fine.
It's good for them to know, but it's the hard bit to realise is that it is a sport, and so it drastically changes depending on what you get on the day.
I mean, even like when we're talking about cutting down weight classes, like I knew that if I was cut down, it could have gone differently.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it impact because a lot of your leverage comes from literally like where your rib cage sits, not like body mass, and your deadlift is your limb length. I don't think it'll impact you that much. I think when you go back, it's not going to make any difference.
On bench though, I think it does.
You carry
even now from nationals where I have lost weight, I can my upper body goes up and down very quickly. I had people when I was just about to compete asking me if I'd switched to bodybuilding training, and I was like,
"Bitch, I'm jacked."
half like super offended, being like, "Am I actually that big at this point?" And then like looking around the room and being like, "Oh God, I am actually bigger than some of the guys in here. Like, please stop."
Those guys' fault. Those
guys
need to step up.
But yeah, it's one of my upper body builds like very quickly. Lower body not so much, but it's fine.
That didn't sound like it was fine. It's fine.
I'll deal with it.
But so actually, just because that's interesting, because it comes up with Rach at the moment. We were in the gym yesterday. She will listen to this, and she's going to love she's got 2 mentions. I know she will. She'll be like,
she's like, I'm definitely going to do that 200 before she does.
She's going to sit there like, I'm going to fucking kill her. Like, it's going to be so much. And literally, we were talking about like because obviously there's different people in the brand and different levels and who's competing with who. And like Cleo was number 1 squat, and then Lucy's popped up, and Lucy's got a big squat. I'm like, good, you need someone to chase. That's really good for you. And like having Rach who like is going to pull 200 at some point. And
Rachel's squat is coming on a lot
Rachel's
as well.
squat
it's
is
scary.
Good. Like she's taking rep work now.
Yeah.
But then again, like we had other people like as soon as Cleo moved to sumo, that shot up, and I was like, good, she's going to chase people again. Like this is really good. Little competitions going on.
Other.
But yeah, we're talking about we were in the gym yesterday, and she was like, I'm jacked. Like I look fucking jacked today. Her back is obscene, but her shoulders and her arms have really grown as well.
Yeah.
So the first time someone said to you, you look like a bodybuilder, because you don't talk aesthetics, we never do.
No.
But people don't realise, you do good powerlifting work, you get jacked. You don't have much of a choice.
I know.
How do you feel about it?
No, I it's completely different, like the way that your body changes. I think like from if someone's training bodybuilding to if they're training powerlifting, and it's a lot like I'm very aware of like the way that my body sits in normal clothes. It's like I can't wear like dresses and stuff that other people wear, and it's fine because I'm in normal clothes. I wear every day in, day out, that no one sees me in anything different. Yeah, that's fine because it's jumper shorts, jumper leggings. As soon as I put on like a strappy dress, i.e. the summer ball. Yeah. Oh my God, it was so hard to find me a dress that I was comfortable wearing. Right. Because you just look really different to other people. In the photo that is like on my Instagram right now, there's 2 of my flatmates who sit next to me who are literally half the size, like in body, like upper body, and it looks quite odd, in my opinion. Other people won't. I'm sure no one looked at it and went, "Oh, she looks huge in that." But I look at it, as I'm sure most people do with their own posts, and think, wow, like, plus don't mention the tan lines that are also there.
My only thought was the tan line.
Yeah, it's not good.
So
I got burnt.
What's your relationship with how you feel about your training and the impact of that? Is that something where you're like, okay, well, that's just who I am now, that's cool? Or is it that's annoying?
It goes up and down. Yeah. Some days I'm looking at like, so happy with like the way that I'm looking at the moment. But that's the same with everyone, isn't it? They wake up on one day like the way they look, the next day they don't. Yeah. But like, especially when just before nationals, I was not happy with how I was looking. I was like, oh, for goodness sake, why did I choose to go into 76s? Let's cut back down, please.
But that bit, like now having done that, feeling better about where you, like as back into the class you would be in, you feel more comfortable at that point.
Yeah, I think, again, it's just like something to grow from, isn't it? You know where you feel most comfortable. My body definitely feels comfortable at a lighter weight. I feel heavy when I'm like higher up. So that's fine by me. I'll go back down.
Okay, so I did actually get specific questions to ask you, so I need to make sure. Oh, no, that was the first thing I was going to ask. So, like, we've spoken about the fact that you've been doing uni all this time and still training. And how many days a week are you now training?
4. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy about that. Back up to 4. Took it down in September. Was it somewhere around then because of uni and because of the weight that I lost. And we were like, got to keep that up a little bit because my lifts were suffering from it.
Yeah.
So I took it down to 3 days a week, which I was thriving off of them, to be honest.
You managed really well, but you made a lot of progress.
Yeah, with 3 days, it was quite enjoyable. I could structure them around pretty much anything that had come up in the week. I was like, don't you worry, I've moved my Thursday to Sunday. It's fine.
All the time in the world.
That's it. And then that like all sorted itself out. So then was it after Nationals or before Nationals we changed it?
After Nationals we changed.
We were just like...
Yeah, because you went into Nat squatting once a week.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I'm deadlifting once a week.
Like, it's one of those that's... I was trying to explain, I think I did this on another podcast, but saying how rare it is that you get the opportunity to learn about someone, because I wouldn't go into programming someone and go, let's just do once a week. I just wouldn't do it. But it's like, needs must, let's try it. And you responded really well. I'm like, how would we have come across that any other way
it's really
than just
odd.
guessing? So that went really well. And then post Nats, people were like, well, it's gone really well, but there were I think it was because the 142 had broken down a bit. I was like, I want to have a second squat session back.
Second rear, and it helped so much as well during my tempo and stuff. Just getting
thinking like
brutal as that was the first session I went into that, which is fine now.
Why was it brutal?
Oh, it was just horrendous because straight away I come back from Nationals and obviously I'm like, yeah, I'll go into it next week.
Yeah, that's you though.
Yeah, that's fine. And then it was like split squats, tempo squats, leg press or belt squats, which I don't have, so it was leg press.
Leg press, yeah.
What else was there? It was just all legs on one day.
Yeah.
And I was just trembling the first session I genuinely felt like I could have thrown up. But I was going to push it, and the tempo squats weren't even like that much weight.
I mean, I'm pretty sure everything was like an RP5.
Yeah,
top end.
But it was still horrible. Because this is my thing, if I make effort in RP5, it's still quite heavy.
People don't get that, because people think RP5 just means light work.
That's something I've grown from since Christmas. At Christmas, I remember telling you, yeah, well, if I put more effort in, then it's a 6. But if I don't, we'll call it a 6.5, it'll be fine. Whereas now, it's like a lot more, I know I said this after Nationals, I'm focusing a lot more on intent. Every rep is now like maximum effort, so that's why it's getting better. Inserts
marketing clip reel.
Yeah, I know.
That's just gone out. The thing I have a conversation a lot about is like, so week 1 of exposure, been like, right, you've got whatever at 6, and people just DOS. I'm like, well, now your block's going to be capped, or you're going to have massive leap somewhere. Work at 6 is still work.
Yeah.
So you came in RP5 work, made it RP5 work.
Yeah.
She's fucked.
The thing with tempo squats as well is that I get like bad blood blisters like around my eyes whenever I do them. Like not whenever.
I get this from deadlift work on my arms and shoulders.
It's not really. It's a bit dramatic, to be honest.
You are such a dramatic. This is back to the blood shit.
Like you've got to like hold your breath in some capacity, don't you?
Yeah.
But I think just like the extended amount of time.
You've got some fragile veins.
That's it. I must do it. And then I was so concerned because they haven't happened since. But it was like I was thinking, oh God, please don't let me. I've got like to go into work tomorrow and I've got blood blisters around my eyes. Like this is not going to look good. I'm going to look like I've been punched. But it was okay. And I was since then, I think you took down like a set of like a couple of things. Yeah. I was like, I can deal with that.
I think it was the first week where it was like, I'm dying, my legs are shaking. Like, oh yeah, you're that person. Let's go down a little bit then. And now 4 days a week, thriving. Everything's building quite nicely.
Yeah. Really happy with 4 days a week actually, because I can still fit it in quite. That's what I used to do.
Did you take a top double within the last block on squats?
Yeah, 140.
Yeah. So because when you said like, oh, I squat 135 or like a 6,
that was last week. No, that was yesterday.
But taking into account yesterday, fucking throwback.
I forget.
You were like, there was a day. When was it? Like literally 24 hours ago. But taking into account, you squatted 142 at Nationals, prepped. You just squatted at the end of a block 140 for a double.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
That's always my reaction. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, no, that happened. Anyway,
it was good.
Right, fuck you. So if this is the rate of progress you're making again, how are you setting goals?
Oh, I'm still struggling. It's one of those things that I set goals at Christmas after not knowing what I was going to do, and then I go past them. And this is why, that's a massive reason I'm convinced is why I've been comparing myself to others, because I can surpass my own goals. I don't set my next ones quick enough, and so I look at other people's goals. I go, well, I'll chase that then, and then that just becomes my goal. And it's not really like how I probably should go about it. But
who are the people you've looked to?
What? If I say these, it's going to look really vain. It's only...
Well, no, but you are... Right, your first year of competing, you won nationals and went to worlds. If you tell me you're looking at people who are the best in the world, that makes sense. That doesn't feel like it's excessive. Well, so who are the people?
Particularly... Oh, please, God, I've got to get a name. A French girl from...
Yeah, from France.
Yeah. Is it Carla? No, I don't... I can't believe I got her name wrong.
The one who's like Curly Monster or something.
No.
Who are you looking at?
She's amazing as well. I think she
just got picked for what?
But there's a girl who is just come out of juniors and is now, she just came third at Worlds. I can't believe I forgot. How bad's that?
Do you know her Instagram handle?
Oh, I'm sure I've searched it up recently, let's be honest. A few seconds.
Short intermission while we stalk people on Instagram.
I don't follow her. I don't barely follow anyone anymore. I can't. I had to take myself, stop following.
Did you actually unfollow people?
I had to. If you watch my account early this month, you would have seen there's a lot of people I don't follow anymore.
Why did you unfollow them?
Because as a lifter, you see lifting on your page day in, day out. And I absolutely adore this team. And I see every single one of their lifts on that chat every single day. I go through them and I look at all of them.
Actually?
Yeah, like in the morning, that's like my activity. As I go through, I make this person. Mad. Obviously, by the time it's in the morning, there's already been 200 responses to one lift. And they don't need my opinion at that point, to be honest. So I go through it. But if I'm on my Instagram and I'm seeing just lift after lift after lift, it gets really hard to be like, oh, I have friends outside of lifting here. I don't even know what they're doing. Yeah. So it's like I had to unfollow a lot of lifters, not because I don't want to see what they're doing, because I've already seen that lift 3 times today. I don't need a reel of it now.
So
I'm
now
really sorry.
Community of lifting here.
Yeah.
Life here.
Yeah, I think I needed to. There were a couple like you guys, Rachel, everyone like that.
If you unfollow me, we're gonna have chats.
Could you imagine?
Fucking unfollowed my own coach. Like,
you
right.
realise at one point, she's like, oh, she must have really been hating this lifting community.
Fuck this guy. Because for context for people who don't know, when you're saying you're going through the athlete chat, we have 170 athletes. There are around 800 messages in that chat a day. It's
like phenomenal.
But it's mental.
But mental at the same time. There's some things, it comes up on my page, I look at it, and in the space of me thinking, what RP actually is this? Yeah. And then there's already been 7 replies. I'm like, oh, I'm just too slow for this these days. I've gotten old.
How old are you now?
18.
Fuck yourself.
I can't find her, it's really bad. Actually, I'll just go on to who won 69s this year? Girls.
Who fucking knows?
Wait, let me have a look at...
IPF Worlds this year was chaos.
Won. Oh dear.
Right, so her...
Annie Nelson was competing for
Annie didn't do well, from what I can tell.
No.
I haven't seen about it. I like the way you're just like, just pause, just say names. I didn't say anything, like, that's just, have a good day. All I saw was a post with an angry face.
I can't find... Well, yeah, that girl, that's one of the
French girl.
Purely because she is just... she's just come out of juniors, so I can sort of make some sort of...
Relatable timeframes.
Yeah.
What did she hit?
She's got 220 deadlift. I don't know if that's got to be honest.
So I feel like you went, I just want to deadlift something big.
Yeah. I don't, it's looking up to like what they're doing, and it's more their mindset of like how they're preparing for lifts and stuff. There's a lot of things like coming out at the moment that I've seen of like, if you prepare, like people have a certain way of approaching a platform. Even if you're preparing in like that certain way, you can see how lifters at that level have got a very strict routine on how they approach a bar. Yeah. And that's marginal gains and all of this like rubbish. Like, I know, but it does make a difference.
But it does, because I'm like a sucker for that stuff. Like nothing changes ever. It's 100% the same.
I never have. It's just I didn't know that was a thing that actually helps before, but I just did it. Like I approached the squat in a way, I approached deadlift in a way, and when I don't, that's when it all goes wrong.
So we're learning, don't do that.
Yeah, so now I just do, and it's like looking at lifters who are higher up, you can see like different things that you could work on
So
to
taking the
get to
stuff
that
that
level.
actually applies to you. Because like looking at a lot of those people, it's easy to go like, okay, that's a goal that feels like a million miles away.
Yeah.
But and it's like when I started in all of fitness, I was picking up the Muscle and Strength magazines, reading Kai Green's training program, being like, I'll just do that. I'm like, I should have just taken any of the mindset. The actual training was irrelevant. So having looked at these people who are at this level, what is the goals of numbers that you didn't answer?
The goal of what I want to get to.
Yeah.
At Christmas, I said 500 total. I will get there. I still believe that.
Don't disagree.
Yeah, sort of going to happen. And then I said, that's easy enough. 200 squat, 200 deadlift, 100 bench.
If you squat the same you deadlift, we have not made the most
I
of your
know
leverage,
that's
mate.
not going to happen, and it will be different either way.
Yeah.
I still want. So do you know what I said to myself? I really wanted a 200 deadlift before I turned 19, but it's sort of just like not really.
When's your birthday?
11th of July. It's not going to happen. I've sort of thought about it by now.
You mean the one that's in a matter of weeks?
Yeah, exactly. But 3 months ago,
so close.
Yeah, I know that's the problem, isn't it? It's the fact that it's literally so close.
What are you doing on your birthday?
Like what I'm meant to be.
Yeah, have you got plans for your birthday?
No.
I'll let you max it. I'll let
No,
you
you
try
won't.
and pull.
Don't. But no, because could you imagine I don't then get the 200? It will throw me. I'm not doing it.
What if you just like took the 190?
I'll take the conversion. I do a triple and it works out to 200.
I'll take the
fine.
E1RM.
Yeah.
Be like, right, whatever that is.
that works.
I'll pull like, what is it, 140 for probably 15, and that will give you a 200
I
E1RM.
don't think I've got 200 in me at the moment. No. I think with probably a competition set up, and I've got everything there. The adrenaline's high. I've got 2 monsters in me that haven't been stolen, which I haven't told you about that yet.
I'm ready to be angry.
Wait, have we spoken about nationals yet? We sort of have.
Very brief.
Look, well, first deadlift went up, had my monster, put it on the side, came back, monster's gone. Ask Mikey about that. Absolutely raging, and I've got a photo of when I was raging about it from white lights, and it is so bad because I'm
Why have I not seen this photo? I haven't seen one photo.
So bad because I've got my head in my hands like this, and I've shown my mum and dad, and they were like, "This one's a really bad one of you." I'm like, I was so angry.
I'm literally going to put that on for this podcast. I'll use that photo and being like, find out what was behind this moment, and be like, it's the fucking monster.
Yeah, because
so second time happened again.
No, so monster was gone. I'm assuming someone had picked it up and put it in the bin.
Nice, great.
I'm not sure. Who knows? Maybe someone was being helpful when they thought, here's a full monster can. We'll put that in the bin because it's littering. I was like, obviously they knew what they were doing. That's what was happening in my head anyway.
Malicious
I doubt
intent.
someone like stole it and drunk it. That would be really weird. But
So you've gone towards that they were sabotaging you by stealing your drink.
I don't want to think like that because that's really big-headed. But I just think that's really annoying.
It is, but also like.
But why did I leave my drink there?
No, but why would someone be like, that's what will shake her, take her monster?
They shook me all right.
It fucking got me, it ruined the day.
Yeah, that's it, to be fair. I was really angry. Mikey was going, put all this anger into your lift. I was like, yes, Mikey, you know how I work. You know how my brain works. You've been with me for long enough. You know exactly what I'm thinking right now.
This man handles you like every comp.
He's just brilliant.
And what he's learned is like, she gets mad about weird shit.
Yeah,
Use that for the platform.
That's it. He knows exactly what was going on.
Okay, then you've got
I think he was really confused at the start. He was like, why is he so angry about this? Because I was already so hyped up.
I'm still confused. Like, it's not like it was weird that he didn't get it.
Yeah.
You're very mad about this monster.
Yeah, because it's like, why would you take it? It's just not necessary, is it? It's the same thing though that we talked about earlier. I've got a routine set now.
That's the routine, yeah.
I go back, I drink a bit of the monster, I come back out. For what reason I think that works, I don't know, but it will work, and that's how I work.
The other bit you said, because we were taking from the like elite guys what lessons you can learn.
Yeah.
And like one of the things is obviously their intent between lifts, but the other thing is when you're talking about goal setting, there's a sentence that people say, and it kind of drives me mental, and it's not a bad thing, but it's like you pick a comp, you line it and go, right, the real work starts now. And I'm like, oh good, you respond how I feel.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
like,
because why have you been working before?
Yeah. Because so comps come, you don't actually have a comp on the horizon. We've not planned anything, but you're not training lightly. You're not you're still on it with every single session, everything you do, you've not taken time off. So what would you say for you then is like what will make the difference? If I set you a comp, would it make a difference?
No, as long as your programming stays the same, it will stay the same.
Well, unless I start fobbing it off and I'm like, nah, that's enough.
Yeah, literally. It'll be yes, I'll do whatever especially now, like from what I've been doing for the past few years, every session now I go in and it's like you're going to do these reps, you're going to do every single one to what needs to be hit, and every single rep is done that way. So nothing will change. It'll probably give me a bit of a kick up the arse in the fact of where I'm weighing, and I'll be doing a bit more nutritional stuff. Because if I'm going back for the under 69s, there is still more weight to be lost, which is fine. But I'll probably work with you through that anyway.
I need to remember I've got a nutritionist coming to work for us who's going to take a few people.
Excellent. That sounds good. But yeah, hopefully, if possible, I'll get a competition late this year, early next year. Because I need now, if I'm going to go for nationals again next year, I need the new qualification.
Yeah. So one of the things I was going to ask with that then, like, no specific goal next, learn a lot from the stuff that's happened, but also you had a rapid come up of learning everything in the sport, getting to such a level, and then goal setting got really hard.
Yeah.
Is there anything in hindsight you would have done differently, or what would want it to be different?
It's a hard one. It's one thing I would like touch on, because there's a lot of like new lifters that even like at uni who just come into the gym and they see me training and they approach me quite a big amount, and a lot of them are pointed onto you, of which is always the same with some uni lifters, and it's just like they think that they know what they're doing, and then I'm like, yeah, give it a go, I'll give you Callum's number, and then nothing ever comes of it. But he. Not here. Oh God, I can't go into that story.
I forgot about that. We won't cover that. What were we talking about? Would you change any of it? Then you started talking about uni.
So because everyone says, "Oh, what do I do for my first competition?" And I always say, "Just get one in. Like, just do it," because that's what I did. And I understand that there's a lot of people that doesn't actually work for. Is just doing a competition. Yeah. People need a different mindset of the fact that I'm going to hit these numbers on the day, and that works for some people. It just wasn't. It was never going to work for me. I had to get on the platform to know if I was going to enjoy it first. Yeah. Because if I didn't enjoy that first competition, my journey would have gone very differently.
Would have stopped. Probably.
Yeah. Probably.
Immediately been like, don't like it.
Don't like it. I'm going. So for me, I wouldn't change anything, because if I hadn't done it that early, I feel like, it would have probably limited my potential in quite a big way. I think potentially going a little bit slower would, in hindsight, no, I'm not going to say that. It's fine. I was going to say in hindsight, if I would have gone to Worlds, but yeah, I would have, because it's the biggest opportunity.
So first comp goes amazing, qualify. Definitely would have done that again. Next is nationals. Come first.
Would have squatted to depth, yes.
Yeah, I would have just had that be a fair depth call, because I'll be honest, it's still in my phone. Like, I kept those photos because it will haunt me till the day I die. And then the next comp's Worlds, and I think that one was like overcoming injury, learning about that, and then having the best turnout of an event.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. And then the next one after that is nationals again.
Yeah, because I didn't need to re-qualify, which was brilliant for me, because I didn't have to stress about like getting into what weight class. I could sort of like leave it up until the last moment. I genuinely thought I would have to then compete as a 76 before I qualified for nationals, if I was going to do nationals.
But you didn't realise
I didn't realise I could just show up. So it was like in February, and I was like, I better book a competition, which I was meant to do, didn't get in. Yeah. Because I was too late, which is fair enough. And then I went straight back to nationals and did what I did there. So
that one being, again, the only one that's like an outlier, because the outcome was restricted going into it. Yeah. We knew you weren't going to win that class. So would you have changed that? Yeah, in hindsight, I definitely would have. And it's one of those things where, I've grown from it and everything. But there's two very different perspectives. In life, no, I wouldn't change it. I needed that point to grow. It's all worked out for the best now. The part in me that says I just wanted to be on that podium, which I'm never usually like. I'm not usually like, I need to be there or anything. But the part in me is going, I should have just gone for 69s and you would have been fine. Yeah. But I don't know what my lifting would have been like if I'd have gone. And also so for instance, the injury you took into Worlds, I wouldn't undo that, because I think it's such a good lesson to learn. Yeah. And the thing being like, at its worst, it can still be good. And like, I can still figure out a way through it. And you figure out like the amount of communication that is like necessary that we could actually maintain, because that was every session, every day. Yeah. And then it's also the same thing with this one of like, the outcome bugged me as well. Like, it sat with me where I was like, you would have been on the podium. Like, that's fucking annoying. But also, like, I don't think without that experience, you'll be as good a lifter as you'll be. of being like, right, I know where I should be. This is no longer like an in and out. And it's also being like, I don't do that again. Well,
I spoke to Spencer about it as well when we were at the competition. He said to me, oh, this is just like another walk in the park for you now, isn't it? It's like another competition. I was sort of like, this sort of is a little bump in the road. It's my first competition at in juniors, and that was the same place where he was at. It would be first year. We've both got a long time to go. It's not as though it's like last competition where Cleo was. It wasn't it. That was her last time in juniors. So I can understand, like, you have to be...
It's pressure to
it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, me and him, we've got years to come. Like, we'll both be doing fine. And he is as well, by the way.
He's blowing
if you're
up.
Listening.
He's doing very well. He's made a lot of progress. And I think it comes off the... Like, with a junior lifter and a younger lifter who's going to be in it for a long time. We were talking about Lucy's been in it for however many years. Of, like, if you don't have a couple of hiccups and you're okay dealing with them, because that could have been... Like, a different person would get there, not get on podium and go, I'm fucking done with this.
Yeah.
It ain't you.
No.
It's clearly not who you are.
Not going to happen.
And it was the same thing for Spence. Like, he came up to that competition, that was the qualifier. And I remember in the back of my mind, I'm like, if you qualify by the skin of your teeth, you don't want to go to nationals. It is not a good experience.
It's not a nice thing.
People don't realise that until they do it. But you, him doing that and then be like, well, that was the worst thing for him, was the best thing. Of being like, no, I do want this, I'll do it again and I'll get better.
It alters your headspace as well.
Yeah. So I think, like, from a coaching perspective, even though at the time I was like, you can't wait, you'll be fine. I'm glad I didn't tell you to do it, because I went with it's lifestyle. What do you suit right now? Prioritize your education.
You sent me, I've got my own opinions on it. I was like, I know exactly what you're saying right now, but I can't.
But it's one of those, like, if it suits you where you're at, you do you.
Yeah, I had to.
And I think you made the right choice, as much as it's annoying in hindsight. So the next bit, we'll line up the next competition, and then it's just taking over and then beating the French girl that we don't know who she's called.
It's so bad. It's so bad, isn't it? Yeah. No, it'd be nice to get back to podium.
If anyone listens to all of this and they're like, oh, I want to see more of her lifting, will you post anything on Instagram this year? Who
knows? We'll see what happens today in training. I've got big numbers planned for today. Might post them, because they're with competition plates as well. You can't not post them.
For fuck's sake. Yeah, if it's in dreams and everything's purple. It just looks terrible.
It's more the fact of, like, most of the time I'm in gyms where it's like the only camera angle I can get is on the floor.
They are and you're like, how does this look? I'm like, I don't know.
Because I'm taking still Rachel's advice of putting a plate on a roller.
Yeah.
Brilliant from last year.
3 mentions she's had in this.
You're doing so well. But it's like, that works for me. But when you've got a busy gym and you're trying to get a decent angle that you're going to post on Instagram, it's not ideal.
You are not that person. You've not been the one thing that's like
I don't need people seeing it from that angle. That is not a good angle.
But one thing I'll say, like, 2 people have come to me who remind me of you are the same. Lois and Lucy.
Oh, really? Yeah.
They remind me of you, like, work ethic
Lois
and the passion.
Is the same age.
Yeah. But, like, I don't mean age of being like they just happen to be a female and young.
Yeah.
I mean that they have come to it and been like, I want to work really hard, I want to be the best, and whatever it takes, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, give me the work, I'll do the work. Lucy's exactly the same. And none of you post on social media. And I find that really interesting.
Lucy posts a little bit more than me, which is...
She does more now as well. Because she's asked me if I can help her with it. Because she's like, I'd like to do more of it, I just don't know how. And I was like, I'll help you do it. So she's starting to post more. Nice. It's really sweet. If she listens to this, she's had too many mentions as well. She's fucking awful. She's on in 2 days. We've got a recording.
Good.
But yeah, the same thing of, like, not posting. It's not about the media. There's an authenticity to that I really like. I keep nudging you to post because I'm like, you deserve the respect, but also, fuck it, if you don't want to do it.
Yeah, I'll do it every so often. I made the New Year's resolution of I'll post once a month, which I have. Mate. I have posted once a month, just not all lifting related.
Right.
So lifting related, I'll do today is post it, and then that'll be this month's done.
Well, they won't go follow you then. If they wanted to, give your Instagram handle.
It's e.mar10.
It sounds like a password for a Skype.
Martin.
Smarter than I thought.
Thank you, Mum. It's my email. Oh God, I shouldn't say that, should I?
Thank you for coming back on.